We live in a world that it seems like is constantly fighting or arguing over something. Turn on the TV, get on social media, sit around with a group of people long enough, and it's bound to turn into a discussion on some hot button issues, with everyone giving their opinion and everyone fighting for their own position. Well, I wish I could say that the church was exempt from that, but the truth is, we've been arguing in the church over things that don't really matter for centuries, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like the end is in sight. We argue over things like eternal security and Calvinism and women preachers, speaking in tongues, the end times, and the list goes on and on and on. But if we're being honest and charitable, we could probably admit that though these issues are fun to talk about, at the end of the day, they're kind of secondary issues. And if we can agree on the major tenets of the Christian faith, then we should be able to get along just fine. At the end of the day, I bet we would all agree that serving the least of these is far more important than arguing about our theological positions. We would agree that fighting for justice is more important than making sure our theology is the right theology and that everyone else is wrong. So why is it then that we so easily get focused on things that don't matter to the exclusion of what really does? Paul is closing down the letter to the Galatian Christians with this idea. Circumcision or uncircumcision, it's not really the point. It's not what matters. He says the only thing that really matters is new creation. He tells them that we don't have to get so caught up in arguing over these issues, even though Paul is adamantly opposed to circumcision as some sort of symbol for the Christian belief. His point is, let's get focused on what does matter and stop fighting fights that don't need to be fought. If the same effort the Judaizers had put into having Christians circumcised was put into bringing new creation to bear on the created order, then the church and creation would be in a much better place. The same is true for us. Perhaps it is time that we stop arguing over things that don't matter and fighting fights that don't need to be won or resolved and get busy doing the things that we can agree on, and that is being agents of new creation. Let's spend some more time caring for the sick and the poor. Let's spend more time loving the unlovable. Let's seek reform where reform is needed and justice and mercy in our communities. Let's not act like the Christian faith is all about theological positions. It's more about taking the position of a servant. So that's my challenge to you today. Have you been focused on stuff that doesn't really matter? If so, why not change your focus to the things that do and get busy bringing the things of new creation wherever you're at?